In 10 minutes, Stingray continues here on BBB1, but now it's time for Not the News at 8:30 with Michael Asprin.
A very good morning to you, and we start with news that British politicians have decided to follow pretty much the whole of the public sector and go on strike. A spokesperson for the MPs Union ASLEP, the Association of Serial Liars and Excrement Producers, said members were sick and tired of being blamed for the nation's woes. He added that unlike health workers, they wouldn't be returning to work if there was a life and death emergency. Just like the Christmas recess then. And as you can see, I'm standing in what would normally be a crowded and raucous House of Commons chamber. But the strike, unprecedented in UK political history, has rendered it empty and silent, apart from my dulcet tones. The action is expected to unleash wave after wave of total and utter order right across the UK, and the longer it goes on, bring the country to its glees. With a G, not with a K. Here's how our experts reckon events will unfold. Well, on day one, rail workers, nurses, ambulance, paramedics, post office staff, bus drivers, civil servants, traffic officers, driving examiners, et al. All agree to return to work. So, on to day two. Day two, hospital waiting times are halved by lunchtime and completely eradicated by tea time. On to day three. There we are. That's the button I need to press. Day three, and the railways are running so smoothly that a delegation of Swiss engineers visits the UK to see just how we get our trains to be so punctual. On to day four. Brexit is reversed, and Nicola Sturgeon agrees the union should continue forevermore before leaving politics and signing up for the Edinburgh Playhouse production of The Crankies. So what of day five? Well, day five, the UK is officially renamed the land of milk and honey, and an indefinite national holiday is declared. So in other news, Mattel, the toy company that owns the Thomas the Tank Engine franchise, has announced a reboot of the evergreen children's character created by the Reverend Tawdry. Filming of the new series, called Thomas and Enemies, All Engines Stop, is understood to be based on actual events. Mick Lynch, fresh from his barnstorming performance as General Secretary of the National Union of Rail Workers, has been slated, in more ways than one, to play James the Red Engine. And the Transport Secretary, Mark Harper, here we are, has been lined up for the role of Sir Topham Twat. That should have read Sir Topham Hat. Anyway, the script is said to be faithful to Thomas's 1940s origins, as the clip of Lynch rehearsing for the new series demonstrates. Down at the station, early in the morning, all the little engines standing in a row with absolutely nowhere to go, because there ain't no drivers. We've all become skivers. Till they give us enough, we don't give a puff. Puff, me old chuff, chuff. Off we go. On strike. Back to my Michael Asprin voice. Just 24 hours after it was announced that the Prime Minister, Rishi, where's Wally, Sunak, decided to make maths compulsory for all school children up to the age of 18. Not the 8:30 News has obtained exclusive access to draft papers for the new 18-plus examination. Question 1. Julie is a Band 5 nurse working for the NHS. Jacob is a backbench Conservative MP. Her annual salary, $27,000. His just over $84,000. Now, according to the RAC, the average price of petrol is $1.51 a litre, and an average petrol engine can do 36 miles to the gallon. So calculate who can travel the furthest if they spend all their wages on transport. Please show you're working out, unlike Kwasi Kwarteng and Liz Truss. So, on to question 2. Here we are, question 2. Raj is a maintenance worker for Network Rail and is paid £31,000 a year. Andrew is the chief executive of Network Rail and earns £588,000 a year. With food inflation currently running at 13.3%, who will run out of money first? Is it A, Raj, or B, Andrew? And finally, on to question number 3. Ryan is a recently qualified ambulance paramedic and earns £24,000 a year. Steve is Secretary of State for Health. His annual salary, £143,552. Both live in London, where the average monthly cost of living is almost £2,000. Now, if the average yearly premium for private health insurance is £1,500, work out which of the two would be most able to afford private medicine should the need arise, which it almost certainly will, unless you want to wait 2 days for an ambulance and then spend another 12 hours being treated in the back of it before a hospital bed becomes available. So pretty controversial stuff this morning, I think you'll agree. That's probably worked off one or two of your hangovers. And I have to say that's it from me, Michael Aspirin. Don't forget to follow the labels on the back of the jar and don't take too many to cure the New Year blues. Back to you in the studio, boys.